Bears have a new stadium plot. We're moving to Hammond, Indiana.
Yeah, Northside noise, Shot City Ben, Joey and Sam, lock it in, we blow all the spin, come talk, yeah, tap in, and with a heartbeat, couple quick.
Welcome to the Shy City Den. I am Joey Glickman alongside Sam Van Cleve. We're breaking down the biggest stories, biggest games, and all things Chicago sports. If it's happening in Chicago, we're talking about it. We got a packed show ahead of us. We're going to talk about the Cubs continuing to drop games, although a thriller yesterday. And the Bears, probably the biggest story is honestly in sports right now, is the Bears potentially moving to Hammond, Indiana. But let's start with the Cubs. Let's get them out of the way, Sam. Cubs lose today, but yesterday was a thriller and hopefully a step in the right direction. Cubs were down the entire game. Down 6-1 at one point, come back to win it in the ninth with 4 runs. I left the game early. I was there last night. Left the game in the bottom half of the eighth inning. I had about had it. I left the Wrigley, and I deeply regret leaving Wrigley. But an absolute thriller yesterday. What are your thoughts on yesterday's win, and can this be maybe a boost for this club, excluding today's debacle?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that is crazy for you to admit that you left yesterday's game because I know I wouldn't admit that myself. So,
No,
hats off to you for
hand
still
up,
admitting
hand
that.
up. I admit it. I admit it. First
But
game I
yeah,
left early in about 10 years, Sam.
dude, I don't blame you at all because even though we, like you said, miraculously came back yesterday and found some fire in us yesterday to rally late, it just still feels like this team is dead to me right now, and it showed today. We obviously came out really hungover after last night's epic, comeback victory, and today was flat. But it was still good seeing some fight yesterday out of our leaders, our top guys in the order came through for us, and really it was a 1 through 9 victory in last night's game, and that's something we haven't heard all too often as of late, obviously, because we've dropped to 19 of the last 24 now, something like that.
Right.
Um, but I don't know. This team really just feels like it's just not it for me right now. It's the combination of not only not having our top 3 starters and Edward obviously not having his best stuff this year to start, and obviously our bats are just not where they need to be. They're too up and down. So for me, it just feels like this team is getting. I'm getting way too much like 2024 Cubs vibes out of this season right now, where a lot was built up before the year. We were expecting a lot, and that's just not what this team is. And I think the reality of it is starting to kind of settle in for me a little bit because we have a bunch of really good players. Don't get me wrong. Haps had a great year. If you look at his numbers, the slash line's pretty solid. OPS above 800. The slug's been up from past years, so that's great to see. But um, we are paying a hefty amount to a lot of guys who just aren't performing for us right now, and they are really hard contracts for us to kind of navigate around. And I I see a tough deadline coming up for Jed because some of these contracts I don't think you can really get yourself out of. Um, so that's kind of
That's
where I'm at with this team right now. I'm kind of at a standstill, and I'm kind of like this team might have already hit its ceiling. That those are my thoughts and
What do you
my
mean by that?
mindset moving
What do you
forward.
mean by seal? Like in terms of the 10 game winning streaks? What do you mean by that?
I think last year, I mean, what
But
92
you're
win
talking about you're
season,
talking about
won a
last
playoff
year.
series.
You're
Yeah,
talking about
I
last year and the potential that they had in terms of losing the DS. That's their
yeah,
potential.
yeah,
That's their ceiling.
yeah.
Okay. I
I
guess
don't
that was
see us. I don't see a team. I just don't see a team right now that's moving past even the wild card right now.
no. I mean, look, like you said, they're paying guys a shit ton of money, Sam. A lot of money. You're paying Bregman handsomely. You're paying Ian Happ $18 million a year. You're paying Seiya $18 million a year. You're paying Dansby Swanson, although he got a big hit in yesterday's ball game, has been abysmal, batting 180. You're paying him handsomely. You just extended Nico. You just extended Pete. That's your entire lineup, pretty much, guys. That's your entire lineup, and they're not performing to the expectations that we expected them to perform in back when it was spring training in February and March. These guys have been one of the worst offenses in all of baseball, combined with the amount of home runs that the starting pitching has given up. It's not a successful recipe to win. It just seems like when guys get in a scoring position, it feels like you're pulling teeth to score some runs. I mean, the amount of runners that this team has left in scoring position is atrocious. And you look at the team up north in Milwaukee, they know how to get a base hit in a big spot with runners in scoring position. That's why they're trending to be 6.5 up on us going into tomorrow. Look, it looks bleak right now. And again, it's June 5th. There's still a lot of baseball left. There's 100 games left. But man, it's looking really bleak right now. And I don't really know where to go from here. Other than let's talk a little bit about starting pitching right now. And I know we've had a lot of injuries. We've had, like I said, I'm not going to reiterate it again. You guys know the injuries that the Cubs have had. But Shota Managa, he looked like he was fine through the first time through the order. And then he just absolutely unraveled yesterday. He was not good. He gave up another 3 home runs. If you want to include a fourth, the inside the Parker, I don't want to include that. I feel like that'd be a disservice on Shota. But I mean, just limiting the home runs is massive, and the Cubs have given up. The Cubs have given up the most home runs in all of baseball. I mean, what are your thoughts on how we can fix this rotation?
I mean, it sounds like at this point in time, we are, as I said before, we're stuck in kind of a lot of deals we don't want to be stuck in right now. Like we're stuck with Tyone.
You paid
Just have
Shota $22.5 million,
that
Sam.
Shota as well. Like we just have a bunch of average to good starting pitchers, and no one's going to really overpower you. And that's a problem with the staff right now. We don't have a lot of guys who can come in and just simply, like I said, overpower you with their fastball, their off speed, their combination of those two. And for Shota, the struggle this year, as of late and all of last year was his fastball command, and that's kind of coming back to really bite him right now. I feel like all of his hard hit balls are when he leaves that fastball like kind of middle or over the plate, and hitters are really punishing him right now with that. And Shota's a guy who he really can't afford walks, hit by pitches, hard hit balls into the gap, because he's a guy, as we've said and we've talked about in the past, if there's guys on, he's going to let up the long ball a ton. And that's really been the story his last 3-4 starts is he can't limit. He's not been limiting, base runners, and that's why we brought Shota in, because that was his strength, was limiting base runners and
Right.
pitching to contact and getting soft contact, and that just unfortunately hasn't been the story with Shota. His last 4 starts or so, as I said, and all of last year pretty much. So how do you fix this rotation moving forward? Well, for one, if there's a positive, it's good to see Edward Cabrera come out today, and his stuff, his velo looked up. He touched triple digits with his fastball. His changeup was hitting 94, but even then, hard contact still was biting him. So really, I don't see an immediate fix to this rotation. We're the Cade Horton UCL sucks. Obviously, we need our guy Justin Steele back. So that'll be some good insurance, and obviously Boyd in the near future.
Right.
That'll be help as well. But for me, at least I don't see an immediate, fix to this rotation, and I don't feel like it's reasonable, smart spending to go out and acquire a Freddie Peralta as we've discussed in the past, or a deadline arm because that's going to cost you. And unfortunately, we have a very thin farm system at the moment.
It's bad. I don't know what they're going to do with Assad. Assad's down there. I don't know if he's going to come up to piggyback off of Tyone or Ben Brown or something. I don't know. But going off of Shota, and I was having a conversation, shout out Max Friedman yesterday before yesterday's ball game, is look, Shota's going to give up home runs. That's just who he is. He's a fly ball pitcher. He's going to give up home runs. But can he limit the amount of base runners that are on base while he gives up those home runs? Solo shots are not going to kill you. You're going to, if you give up solo home runs, I mean, to be honest, he did yesterday. I mean, he gave up a solo homer to Soderstrom. He gave up a solo homer to Langoliers. Like, he was giving up solo homers, but
solo bombs, you can turn the page quickly.
It just feels like this starting pitching staff can't succeed if the wind is blowing out. They just can't. They can't succeed. Jamison Tyone gives up home runs like it's his job. Edward Cabrera, I mean, how many home runs did he give up today? Like 4 or 5? 4?
Isn't Tyone on pace to break the record for most home runs given up in a single season?
He is. And
mind you, he's gonna have like 40 or 50 less innings pitched than the guy who's currently in first.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy is actually.
It's from a minute ago. I want to say I forget who. I came across the name a little bit.
Yeah, ago. I feel like I know that name. But yeah, I think like Shota again. He pitched fine through the first time through the order, but once you get the second time, third time through, that's where he starts to struggle, and that's where he starts to give up the home runs. And like I said, Cubs lead the league in home runs given up, and that's going to bite you in the butt. That's no denying that. And then Edward Cabrera today. Look, again, you said it. His velo was up, but it just wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough. It's not good enough. I don't remember the last time other than Ben Brown where it's been a clean start. With Tyone, Cabrera, Imanaga, Ray. I mean, Ray had a decent start last week, but it's just not good enough from the rotation. And I get it. Like, they're going to get reinforced. Like, Matthew Boyd should be back next week. I don't know what we should expect from him. Should we expect him to be the 2025 Matthew Boyd? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be the same. When will Justin Steele come back? Will it be at the end of July? Will it be in September when we hopefully are still in it and make a push? There's just a lot of question marks around this rotation, and it makes me think in the back of my head that this team can't really turn it around.
Yeah, and then if you're already thinking like that, then we can't turn it around, then you kind of got to start questioning like what change needs to occur here. And immediately you look at, we locked down Jed Hoyer in the offseason, so that can't change.
Right.
And then you look towards Craig Counsell, who's you could say wildly underperformed in his time here in Chicago. He's yet to win the division because obviously those boys up north have got our number clearly, and they know how to run a contending, winning organization from top down, from farm system up. So really, I think it's only a matter of time. So change needs to occur, and the first order of business, Phil Maton needs to get off this roster.
He needs to go, Sam. It's time.
Needs to.
I don't care if he's getting paid a lot of money. It's time. It's time. I mean, he's wasted a roster spot.
I mean, that's $20 million we're talking about. And like it just feels like we have so much money tied up into guys who, like, Oh, like we're expecting them to outperform their their projections, their averages, instead of just going out and acquiring guys who simply just have higher projections than the guys we currently have. And that's been the argument for me for the past couple of years now with this and with how this front office spends. And we finally got the offseason this year, I guess, where we spent big money, and we have now 35 million tied up into Bregman, who is wildly struggling with his slug, wildly struggling with runners on. Same story with the whole lineup. So if you're Craig, you already lit a fire under this team to kind of wake up. But what
Have they? Has he?
what more? I mean, I'm sure he has in the
I
clubhouse.
don't think he has, man.
You don't think he has? You got to
No,
start if you're performing like this. If you've dropped 19 of the last 24 as a manager, you have to start calling out
no,
your captains, your guys that
I,
are making 30 plus million dollars.
I don't think he has. I think it's just another day at the park. New day, same old Cubs. No, I'm serious. Like he doesn't. He doesn't show emotion. You think he's throwing
Doesn't.
tables in the clubhouse? I don't think so.
No.
No.
But I mean, it's pretty reason. It's a reasonable ask for him to sit down with our $35 million acquisition from this offseason and tell him he needs to light a fire under this team's ass before
How
someone gets
about some
fired.
leadership? I was at the game
Yeah,
yesterday, Sam, and look, it's the little things. A ground ball to
it
third
is.
base. Alex Bregman does not run out of the box. I noticed this right away. He doesn't run out of the box, and the throw's wide. If he runs out of the box, he probably
Was it
beats it.
the throw that was wide and it
Yes,
brought him off the bag and he tagged him? Like,
yes. He
yeah, yeah.
didn't run it out. He did not run the ball out. He didn't run it out. And that reflects on the team. When PCA lost the ball in the lights, I get it. It happens. You lose the ball in the lights. Sam Van Cleve has done it. I've seen him do it. I've lost the ball in the lights. It happens. But what pisses me off the most is the corner outfielders, Ian Happ and Michael Conforto, are not backing him up and not going after that baseball hard enough. Langoliers, I get it. He runs well for a catcher, but he doesn't run that well. All right? He shouldn't be scoring on that play. He shouldn't. He shouldn't. Someone should be there and hit the cutoff man and throw the guy out at home. It's unacceptable. Now, I've been at 2 games in a row where I've seen an inside the park home run. I don't think I'll ever see another inside the parker live again. And I saw it 2 games in a row. I it's an effort thing. You can see it on the field. You can see the sense of urgency on the field. And then you look. I don't want to keep comparing, but this is the team that we're chasing. You look at the team up north. They have a sense of urgency when they're on the field. All right, they want to win. They do.
They do. And it staff to the players, and it shows. They whooped our ass at home, and we allowed it to happen, and we don't. Oh, it's just another 162. It's just another game. We're gonna get ourselves out of this slump. It's just a matter of time. How many more games can this go on, and how many more times can we sit through that and listen to Craig say, oh, it's just a slump. It's just it's going to change. Things are going to change. Well, we have no sense of urgency. This organization doesn't have a sense of urgency. This front office doesn't. Coaching staff doesn't, and it looks like the players don't either.
No, no, and it's frustrating. And look, they're gonna turn. They're gonna figure it out offensively, but it's only if it might be too little, too late. After they turn it on.
I mean, will they? Like, how long does it take for a
No, they'll
full
turn it on,
one through
but
nine lineup to get
no,
going? Like,
they'll get going, but it might be too little, too late, Sam. It might be. They may get going, but they're going to look at the standings when they eventually get going offensively, and they're going to be 10 out. So that's just the way it is. Well, the Cubs got 2 more games. coming up against San Francisco. Ben Brown tomorrow, and Ty on Sunday Night Baseball once again. I'll be there. I think this is enough Cubs talk. I think we should switch to probably the bigger news, and that's the Bears moving forward with Hammond, Indiana. George McCaskey and Kevin Warren came out with this statement today. Yesterday, the Chicago Bears Board of Directors met and voted to advance our stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana, with the exact site to be selected. We believe a world-class stadium project in Hammond will transform the region, connecting northwest Indiana to the south side of Chicago through the loop and across neighborhoods and suburbs stretching north of the city. This looks like a done deal. This looks like a done deal that the Bears are headed to Hammond, Indiana. And obviously, everyone, including myself, is frustrated with both the Bears and the government of Illinois. I don't really want to get into politics, but look, the state of Illinois had every chance to bring the Bears and keep them in Chicago. Now it's looking like they're going to lose the Chicago Bears.
Yep. For me personally, I haven't been a fan of Kevin Warren since he came into Chicago since day one. All he's kind of done is drag this thing on, and maybe that's a problem with Illinois and Chicago and the Bears all together. I don't know. I'm not really versed too well on this topic, but for me, I do see both sides of the coin. It is extremely frustrating that this team's not going to be on the lakefront in a couple of years, and not going to have the city skyline in the backdrop of Soldier Field anymore. But looking around the league, like Dallas Cowboys are in Arlington, Texas, Giants and the Jets obviously in MetLife Stadium or in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So there are a handful of more teams as well.
The Niners are in Santa Clara.
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs are in Missouri as well. So I feel like it does suck that we're moving and it's such a big change, but I think people are going to adapt to it well, and once they see the new stadium, the new surroundings, I mean not to compliment Northwest Indiana and their surroundings, but I think people will adapt to it and adjust to it when it comes and gets here. But initial reaction, obviously, I'm super pissed, super frustrated that this team can't play on the lakefront anymore, and for me, it just kind of feels like Kevin Warren's coming in here to get his money, do his part in the stadium project, and kind of get out of here. So I can't wait for the day that Kevin Warren leaves this organization and gives this helm back to Ben and Poles and McCaskey, because I just don't like this dude hanging around our locker room. I just get weird vibes from Kevin Warren.
Me too.
I don't like it.
Me too. I don't know if he's on the hot seat. I don't know what's going on inside Hallis Hall. If it were up to me, I would probably move on from him. He really hasn't done anything other than talk to the draft picks in the draft room. I still don't understand why he's there.
Didn't he get a freaking game ball too? Like,
I don't
that guy
understand
get a game ball?
I don't understand it.
He's in the locker room after wins.
I've done as much for the Bears. I've done as much for the Bears organization as Kevin Warren has. All right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's time to move on. The ship has sailed on Kevin Warren. But here's the thing, and everyone acted like the sky was falling today on the whole stadium situation, that the Bears are going to be playing in. They're playing in this factory mill. They're playing in this absolute dump. When this stadium is built, guys, if it ends up being Hammond, Indiana, for sure, what it is in Hammond, Indiana right now, it will be a completely different town. What I've envisioned when this came out this morning was that Hammond, Indiana, in 6 years will be Bears land, like kind of similar to like the team up north in the Packers, where the entire stadium is their neighborhood in a way. Don't get me wrong; it's a very cool stadium. It's a very cool stadium. It's a very cool environment. I, I highly recommend heading out there for a Bears game. But like I said, I envision it being kind of a Bears land, having Bears bars, Bears restaurants, everything Bears. It'll just be a Bears specific town, kind of like Disneyland, but for the Bears. Um, I think that would be awesome. Obviously, I don't want it to be in Hammond, Indiana. I'd rather have that be in Arlington Heights. Um, but yeah, it just seems like it's a done deal in Hammond, Indiana. But guys, it's not like it's 3 hours away. It's 20 minutes south of Soldier Field. It's not like you're getting given an arm and a leg to get out there. There's a train.
It's gonna have better parking for sure.
I
You're
mean,
not gonna have to walk, 3 miles or whatever to Soldier Field in the snow. There
well,
should be at
I
least
think the
better
war
parking.
zone in Iraq has better parking than Soldier Field. Um, I yeah, I think this is a obviously a phenomenal situation for Hammond, Indiana. I mean, who would have thought 2 years ago that Hammond, Indiana was a potential site for the new Bears Stadium? It's insane. I never thought it would come to fruition. But again, the shovel's not in the ground yet. Until the shovel is in the ground, I'm not, for sure saying the Bears are moving Hammond, Indiana. However, it's looking really likely that this is a done deal and will probably be built by, I don't know, 2030, 2031. So we got probably 4 or 5 years till this thing is actually loaded and rolling. So, yeah, I'm somewhat excited. It's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah. Aren't we as an organization saving money by going to Indiana as
Yeah,
opposed to Illinois? Because of the, what
100%.
is it, like the taxpayer money or something with that? I'm
Yeah,
I'm not versed
yeah.
on that or whatever,
No,
but
it's above my pay grade as well. I'm not really smart enough in terms of the tax stuff. I don't even pay my own taxes, but that's a different story for a different day. But the in terms of the financial stuff, it seemed like the Bears didn't want taxpayers to pay for the stadium, and Illinois wanted taxpayers to pay for the stadium, and that was the big difference. And they're very far apart in those negotiations. It seems like, and honestly, I don't blame the McCaskey family to just say, "Screw the state of Illinois. They're not giving us what we want. We'll go across the street to Hammond, Indiana, and they'll give us what we want." It seems like the mayor of Hammond is very cooperative. It seems like the governor of Indiana is very cooperative with this situation. So,
and to your point, like I kind of agree with that vision of, Hammond turning into like a Bears town. And I already bet, the McCaskies and, all the top, front end people for the Bears have already took that into consideration and, how
right,
much attention, how much money that's going to draw to them. So I bet, yeah, they have probably no problem with going over the border to, Hammond, as it's not a far trek from Soldier.
right, right, right. I think someone mapped it. It's probably like 25 minutes, 20 minutes away. And it'll be much easier to get in and out. I'm sure. Can't get much worse than Soldier Field. Um, but any last thoughts before we get out of here on kind of a somber episode?
Oh, man, Bears lose 18-3 today to the San Francisco 49ers. That's all I got.
Yeah. We'll be back probably Sunday night. Actually, probably not because I'm going to the game. I'll be back late. Maybe Monday night. Posting sometime Monday. Talking, recapping the San Francisco Giants series, and maybe some more Bears Stadium news if that drops. But again, thank you so much for watching. This is the Shy City Den. I am Joey Glickman. That is Sam Van Cleve signing off.